Hello, Nicole and Vicki. I am Courtney Krieger, Manager of Education and Outreach, and along with my colleagues at the Maltz Museum of Jewish Heritage, I help lead our flagship program, Stop the Hate, with Committee Chair Daryl McNair. As you know, Stop the Hate has been around for a long time. This is our 14th year, in fact. And each year, through the generosity of a donor, we give out $100,000 in scholarships and prizes to students and schools. We recognize individual teachers who also go above and beyond in their classrooms as anti bias education advocates. We asked our partners at Lake Erie Inc. and Roots of America Music to each nominate an educator who exemplified this ideal during Stop the Hate workshops. While there are many deserving teachers and the choice was very difficult, today we are proud to share exciting news with you. To announce this year's winners, please welcome Tamara Blair of Newton D. Baker School of Arts, one of our 2021 Teachers of the Year.
Thank you, Courtney. On behalf of the Maltzes, the Maltz Museum, our partners at Lake Erie Inc. and Roots of American Music, the Stop the Hate Committee, we want to celebrate Vicki Orozco at Newton D. Baker School of Arts and, and Nicole Meyercheck at Beechwood High School. What you clap for? Nicole and Vicki, we want to thank you for providing Northeast Ohio students a platform to stand up and speak out against hate through the Stop the Hate program. You have been selected as the 2022 Stop the Hate Educators of the Year. Congratulations.
Let's hear those students cheer. It's
Thank
okay.
you. Thank you so much.
Good job.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Wow, thank you.
The Stop the Hate program has been a vital part of my social studies classes for many years. I'm always amazed at the work the students do with the teaching artists and proud of the songs they create. When I was recognized as Teacher of the Year last year, it was just an extension of the pride I feel for our school and their participation in this amazing program. I'm very excited to be part of recognizing two new honorees this year. As teachers, we work very hard, mostly in the background, to create learning experiences that will motivate and challenge our students. Vicki and Nicole, you are being honored by the Stop the Hate program because you do that kind of work. You create an atmosphere where students and Roots of American Music and Lake Erie Inc. teaching artists can work together to create original songs and essays that can challenge hearts and open minds. I'm so proud to be part of honoring both of you today.
We are delighted to share that not only have you earned a prestigious title, but you'll also receive a $1,000 cash prize of your personal use, for your personal use.
Thank you.
You have marked your spot in the Stop the Hate history. It's been wonderful to work with you and be inspired by you. We know there are many parents, educators, and mentors who want to hear from you. So, without further ado, I would like to introduce you to the editor of Northeast Ohio Parent Magazine, Angela Gartner, who will ask you a few questions. Angela?
Hi, and thank you for having me here at Maltz Museum. But first of all, to Vicki and Nicole, I want to say congratulations to you both. That's amazing. I know you're just trying to absorb what's going on, but how do you feel? And how do you feel about winning today? Vicki, go first.
Well, this is such an honor to be recognized for what we do. It's amazing. Thank you so much, and congratulations to you too, Nicole.
Yeah, it feels incredible. And obviously, this is not work I do for my own personal recognition. Usually, it's, for me, it's all about the students and making the world a better place. So it's interesting. It's kind of different to get personal recognition for that because it's not really what I'm in it for, but it feels awesome. Thank you.
Well, tell us a little bit about how you got involved in the program and a little bit about your classrooms. Go ahead, Vicki.
So when I came to Newton Baker 6 years ago, our school was participating in Stop the Hate, and like Tamara said, she does the Youth Sing Out program, and so I kind of just jumped right in and started working with the essay competition. And so it's really nice because they do the Youth Sing Out, they write their song earlier in the school year, so that kind of gets them motivated and thinking about the topic. And so then when it comes time to write their essays, we just have this really great, diverse group of students who have a lot to share. And fortunately, they're willing to open themselves up and share their personal stories and, things that I might not know just from conversation that I get to see and hear from the essays that they write, the stories that they share. So.
What about you, Nicole? Tell us a little bit about.
Yeah, I teach ninth grade. This was specific to my ninth grade classes. And several years ago, it's been a long time now actually, that we have been working towards creating a curriculum that really focuses on understanding what social justice is about. And so the beginning of our year opens with the story, The Hate U Give, which is really compelling for students. And there's a lot of complex issues involved, but mostly it's about a teenage girl who goes from being fearful about speaking out and expressing her voice and opinions and thoughts, and then moving towards taking personal risks to fight for what she genuinely believes in and to support, her community and her friends. And I work a lot on building community in my classroom. And so this was sort of one of our culminating pieces to go along with that theme in November. And it was incredible because students had been through actually a number of different sort of trials within our school, and learning how to work together and deal with diversity and appreciate that, and then speak up for their own individual interests and understand how to empathize and work with other students. So it was an incredible experience. And our artist, Taylor Lamborn, came. She was incredible with the kids too. And so, yeah, I was thrilled, and I've definitely spoken to probably 30 other educators saying you really need to get invested in this.
Well, I mean, why is it important, right now, to teach this anti-bias education to students?
Well, I think we're at a very interesting, I don't want to say the word unfortunate, but I kind of feel that way, but we're at a really interesting moment in time. And I think our students have they're walking into a world where people are very, very disagreeable towards each other. And they see people on the news fighting, they see adults fighting and not figuring out how to come together and work together. And so I think learning the skills to talk, to collaborate, to work together, even if you don't agree with somebody, how can you find common ground? How can you work to understand and empathize with their position in the world? These are the real world skills. I mean, I teach an English class, but I teach people. I teach humans that are gonna, grow up to be the people who influence our world. So to understand that bias still exists and what we can do each individually, rather than feeling overwhelmed or hopeless, which I think sometimes it's easy for kids to feel like, well, I'm just one teenage person and nobody wants to listen to me. I think making them feel honored, you have a voice and this is what you can do, you're one small part, and then working together that's what creates change in the world. It's the only way.
I agree with Nicole. We are in a time in history where students really need to know who they are and what they stand up for. I teach middle school, and so 7th and 8th grade, they really need to understand what they want to speak up for, who they want to become, who they are, and going into high school so that they can be comfortable and stand up for themselves and their friends when they get to high school. They're going to be meeting a lot of new people, having differences and things like that. And so it's really important for them to experience this and really work on it now. And it was really nice too this year that they got to see um, through the Lake Erie Inc. program. We had Amy Hughes, she was great. They were able to see some of the high school students and some of their stories, so that I think they were able to really relate to those as well, just to kind of help them bring out their own stories. So I think it's really important right now, um, particularly for them to do this.
Well, kind of along those lines, tell us a little bit about like some of the teaching methods from the program that you use that most help your students, and how did your students respond to this?
So when like I said, Amy Hughes was great. And I've done this somewhat by myself in the past, and it was so nice to have someone helping. She did start out with sharing a number of stories of the winners, the high school winners, so that students could see what a good story sounds like, looks like. And then we did a lot of sensory activities. They had to think of an idea, and then they had to describe what it looked like, what it felt like, what it sounded like. So using all of their sensory experiences, and that really helped them to make a story into a bigger piece of writing, where they were able to add those details and make you. I did notice a big difference in the writing this year, that you felt more like you were there in their stories. And so that was a big thing for us this year that I really appreciated.
For us, we started with watching the prepared video and going through the website that Maltz has created, and for them to think about historical examples and how that sort of culminates into what we see today, and the legacy of biases and hatred. And then when our visiting artist came in, she started by just opening up a conversation with them, and we do that in my classroom regularly, where we just share with each other, like, what struggles are you facing, what challenges are you seeing in the world, what's concerning to you, what do you see that you feel is wrong or problematic, and letting each student sort of share their own individual stories. And then what Taylor did with the students, and I brought in a few examples, is showing them other protest music. So we, did the sing out competition, and so, like, for example, we talked about the song Blackbird, and really famous song. Played it for them. Another one that I played for them was oh, now I'm forgetting the name. What's Going On, Marvin Gaye's What's Going On. So talking about like the circumstances that artists have been placed in, seeing a problem, seeing an issue that they want to resolve, or even just something that's troubling them. And then how do we create music that's meaningful, or a message that's meaningful, and transmit that to other people? So after the conversations, we moved into how do you create a message? And then students were given a lot of time to brainstorm and think about, how might you, talk to somebody else? What do you want to say? What meaningful message? How would you promote change? Etc. And so, like, that was the process we went through. And then there was also this incredible process of talking about music and how different chords, different notes have different emotions and can portray different feelings. And how might you create a movement in a song that would speak to other people and commit to the emotion that you're trying to get across with your words. So we sort of did like poetry, and then how do you set that to music? It was incredible.
Well, what would you say to parents to continue this conversation with their children at home?
I think for our students, I was going to say one of I wouldn't say struggles, but I guess it might be a struggle for some of the middle schoolers, is to, they easily tell their stories and how it affected them. And when they come to the part about what would you do about it, I think because maybe middle schoolers are younger, sometimes they struggle with, well, I didn't do anything at the time. I would encourage parents to have conversations with their children about, well, what can we do to stand up to this in the future? So So that would, coming from school and from home, how do we become upstanders? And I would like to see that conversation continue at home.
Um, so I work with high schoolers, but I have two small children of my own. One is 5 and one is 7. And for both groups, I think it's really important, even with a 5 and a 7-year-old, we talk about what is racism, what is anti-Semitism, what do these things look like, what do we do about them? My son was placed in a situation where he was visually witness to an incident that I thought was racially motivated, and I specifically made the time to talk to him about that. And I try my best to provide a variety of materials. Like when I, designed my 9th grade curriculum, it's sort of the same thing. Like I try to provide a variety of experiences of different types of people and opening up that conversation. It's really difficult, I think, because the conversations are uncomfortable, and can often go to a place where it's like, I'm not sure what I can do about that. But I think even for adults to know that you just sharing, if you personally are upset or frustrated about something, obviously finding an age appropriate way to do that is important. But I don't hide from my children when I see something wrong in the world, or when I am feeling unhappy or uncomfortable or upset about something that I've witnessed. Like those are things that I share with my children too. And obviously my high schoolers, that's a large part of our class is talking about the things that as adults, you know, make me concerned, and then letting them think about that as well and trying to make the most open conversation possible. And, oh, you're just 5 or you're just 7 or you're just, 14, you don't really have an opinion. Like, I think that is probably the most harmful thing that I think students and kids in general face, is like this thought process that like they're just kids and they don't really know, or they can't handle this. Like they can.
Well, have you guys seen an impact to your school and to your classroom since teaching the program?
I think so throughout the years, because I have the same students for 2 years in a row. And so I do think it makes a difference, especially with their camaraderie with each other, just kind of, the way that they treat each other. They write about this, they sing about it, and then they hear each other's stories. And they do share their stories with each other as much as they're comfortable with some of through the writing process with the peer review. And I think it, really encourages empathy. That maybe some of the students wouldn't know that their peers went through something like that or had something like that happen to them. And so I think it's really important that they share their stories with each other. And yeah, I've seen a change, especially, the second year that I have the students after going through the process of youth sing out and youth speak out.
I agree with Vicky so much about the camaraderie that we see. Students at 14 don't want to appear to be vulnerable, and a lot of times it's hard for them to place themselves in somebody else's position, or to let other people know that they're genuinely have been hurt or upset, or their personal stories of things that have happened to them. But providing that open forum, I think, really made each kid feel like they had a voice in the situation. And I've seen many more of them feel comfortable in other classrooms or in other situations to speak out with our administration, and obviously in respectful and polite ways, but to say, time out, something's wrong, and this is how I feel about that, and this is why I think that should change. And that's incredible. That's literally my whole goal as a teacher, is to try and teach kids to advocate for themselves.
Well, my last question is, what advice would you give to teachers who haven't gone through this program yet and who is interested with going through this program? What advice would you give to them about, being involved?
I would just encourage people to get involved. I would really encourage them to take advantage of the workshops with Lake Erie Inc. because they really work with you. And then I know Tamara could speak for Grassroots, that they really, really help in this process with it. But also just encourage them to start, you can't do this incorrectly. Just give it a try, and you'll get better at it as the years go on. Maybe your first year, you'll start, and then you'll do the best you can, and then you build upon that from year to year. So don't feel like you're gonna you're gonna be a failure or anything. Just give it a try, and then keep building on from year to year. You don't have to. You can take baby steps. So if it seems overwhelming to start with, just pick it up and do it.
Yeah, just jump in. I think as teachers, we can be, for a lot of very valid reasons, very focused on time. I only have 45 minutes each day, and I only have 4 days, and I only have this, and I mean, we have exams, we need students to pass to graduate, and there are so many pressures on our time. And I think teachers get so focused on the narrow, like, we only have this much time. And I think that they somehow see this as like an extraneous thing. Like, this is, something that's not really related or integral to kids' learning or to my classroom. But I assure you, as somebody in a school district that is very focused on, student performance and high achieving students, it's so vital for your students to connect with each other, to connect with you, to feel as if they are truly valued in this place and they have a voice and a spot and they can say what they feel and they are honored for that, and that each different type of person has a place. You will get so much in return from students. It's incredible. There's no just try to step back and not be super focused when you think about, I'm giving up X number of days for this. It really is vital to, for my curriculum, it really, I get so much out of the students, and they really become genuinely engaged in the material rather than just learning this for a test or just doing this for some hoop they have to jump through. Like, this is genuinely engaging and motivating for them. And that's where you see all these kids flourish.
Well, thank you so much for your time. Congratulations to you both again. And I'm going to bring it back to the Maltz Museum to wrap it up.
Thank you so much, everyone. Nicole, Vicki, Angela, Tamara. Wow. The Maltz Museum and Lake Erie Inc. and Roots of American Music, we work with so many amazing people, and we are all inspired by you. Thank you so much. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for doing this. It really is an opportunity for us. Thank you.
Yes, it's great. Thank you so much. I truly appreciate it.